Hey, good morning, everybody, or afternoon if you're watching in the afternoon, or good evening if you're watching in the evening, or if you catch on a rerun in the morning, good morning. Okay, got a new video to start running. Hopefully we can keep this regular. So it's Wisdom Wednesday. Of course, on my personal page, I will be back for Wellbeing Wednesday, probably more next week. So, but let's crack on with this one. So I'm just chatting whilst we're waiting for some people to come onto the live, all right? If you catch it on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and click on the alarm button, and you keep updated for when we're getting the new, oh my gosh, new videos. My brain's gone Donna. It's all good. We're just getting ready for Halloween here, which is obviously a few weeks' time. So Tracy's in decorating that. All right, so let's get started. So video is really a short on how to help your child or equip your child to become a lifelong champion. So basically, if your child possesses a healthy sense of confidence, and if you can answer yes to that, they're making friends easily, accept leadership opportunities, and they display bright, positive attitude, all great, yeah. Now, what this really, so they're pretty much on set, I would say, or on track to, have some great leadership qualities, and of course, that it's going to have an impact on everything else they're doing. But maybe I got some great notes to go through, so my eyes are flicking down. If you're watching, if you're listening, it's obviously not going to make a difference. But if your child's maybe a little bit timid, or they're shy, passive, it can be a bit passive. I was quite a shy child. Apparently, I was told I went really quiet at one stage. But I think I was okay making friends. So, but some children can struggle making new friends, or they have very few friends, or they haven't got much initiative. So, of course, if this is the answer, that they are shy, or a little bit passive, or have very few friends, it's a possibility that the child just needs that little bit of help. And of course, now is the best time to do it. So the problems do start very small in general. So if a child isn't able to interact with peers, or finds it hard to look at maybe even adult in the eye, but the children, so there are things that just start a little bit small, and as a child, these problems they start to grow, and other ones can start to form in. Before long, it can be a possibility that a child becomes a target of a bully, or can become prone to other peer pressure. So they may be in a group of friends that aren't necessarily the right set of friends for them. So they kind of feel that safety zone, I guess, but they can succumb to peer pressure that's not healthy, of course, and which of course then may they may withdraw from the classroom at school, and sometimes they can be called painfully shy, and they're called painfully shy for a reason. So a child with self-confidence problems obviously needs to improve on his or her self-esteem. Basically, that's what I'm going to talk about today, is give some ideas on how we can improve a child's self-esteem, all right? First, we're just going to go through some of the common problems that a child may encounter that, obviously takes them back and can have, quite deep impact later on in life, as they're going through school and even into adulthood for some people, okay? So we'll start with the first one. It might be that they're just a little bit timid, or they're a little bit shy. So children are quiet and unassertive. They can find it difficult to interact with both their friends or their peers and adults, and they find themselves maybe a little bit overlooked in school or social settings. So it's difficult for these children sometimes to break out of their shell in order to build friendships and gain leadership skills that are going to be essential for them in both childhood, teenage life, and of course their personal development as an adult. So that's the first one. Second one, maybe they could be a loner, or they're not a leader. So maybe just a bit on their own. Shyness and a lack of self-confidence it can force them back. Force them to sometimes take a step back. Their voice doesn't get heard. They're away from the action, and if they're failing then to participate in activities, it can stop their skills being able to develop, and this further lowers their self-esteem, and in some cases, of course, well, a lot of cases I say, but their insecurity. So they can become a lot more insecure about those social settings. So leadership is a quality that really needs to be learned, basically, and children not encouraged to build this skill, they kind of lose out on this powerful opportunity. It doesn't mean that everyone's got to follow them. It's just they get to have a voice that's heard, of course. Now getting into more from this set, so if this is where they're at, they become more of a bully magnet. So number 3, I don't think there's anything more you're more troublesome as a parent. I'm a parent of 3 boys, and obviously it's a concern of all parents, and especially as being a martial arts instructor here, that's something we hear very often about bullying. So as parents, it's nothing more agonizing knowing that your child is, could be suffering or is suffering from emotional abuse from a bully. And most of the time it is emotional abuse. Yeah, there's physical elements that can come in, but like the emotional part of that is probably about 90%. When it's physical, that is generally that's just 10% of it. If you as a child were bullied, then you know that for some people, those scars, they can really last a lifetime. They can be real difficult to heal up. So sadly, children who are quiet, shy, they do tend to get a bit more of a target to get bullied. For these sort of children, it's essential they turn their attitude around to learn the steps so they can avoid this problem happening. So going on to number 4, so if they're hesitant maybe to try out new things, I think it's sometimes a bit of a human trait anyway, but children can view new experiences as exciting challenges, or they can be quite a big hurdle and barrier. It's all in their attitude, and it's all in how we as parents and role models or teachers, but we instill this as an attitude of, right, it's an exciting challenge and not something to feel nervous about. Of course, a fear of failure is a powerful deterrent. Okay, so if they're scared of failing, it can stop someone from trying out new things or gaining new skills, and it again has a knock-on effect to self-esteem. So if a child is easily overwhelmed, it's important to introduce new concepts and experience step by step. All right, number 5. So we talked about peer pressure a little bit at the beginning of this video. So if you're worrying that your child is saying yes when they should be saying no, a child does need tremendous strength and good character to avoid the dangers and temptations that young people encounter in today's society. So I'd say it's probably even more peer pressures now because of social media. So social media is a bit of a good and a bad thing that's around us. So it's good in some respects, but also it can be quite dangerous for even adults, but for children. So the peer pressure is there. So if we're worried that they're going to say yes when they should be saying no, something there's to think about really. So if you suspect that your child is in the wrong crowd, don't wait till it's too late to help. Then build the character that they need. It's easily done. Okay, and again, step by step, there's little steps that can be taken for that one. And of course, I wouldn't be saying all this if we didn't have the solutions here at Cheltenham Martial Arts, right? So there are many ways of addressing these problems of insecurity or shyness or the wrong peer pressure. The work that I've done and we've done here at the Academy over the years of children of all ages. I'll go for some of the methods that I found, and all the staff have found to be the most effective. So let's start with confidence. So great success starts with one important factor, and that's having enough faith in yourself to get the job done. Now, I always say before confidence comes courage, because you need the courage to do it, and then the confidence will grow from there. And with that firm foundation of having great confidence in ourselves, really anything is possible. And I've seen it. I've seen it in adults. I've seen it in the hundreds of children that I've taught over the years, and the staff have taught. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen quickly, and I've seen some real amazing results. So building the child's confidence is all about giving that personal empowerment and giving them the chance to succeed and acknowledging that success. And pretty much from there, the sky's the limit. So I think just the other day, made me feel a bit old, but a former student, one of my first ones actually, I think he started, he would have been in year 6, and there was some of the things I've talked about was here, especially to do with his confidence. And I remember he soon started to come out of himself. He was presented with some challenges, and I remember he set the goal he was going to get an Oscar one day, and you just seen this person grow and grow. It's such a pleasure to see on Facebook the other day. His mum's so proud. He's since changed his goal of an Oscar, but he went straight into acting. This is someone who was quite confident really, but he got into acting, and now he's just got this dream job at a private school as a theatre technician. in London. So he's just finished university, and that's the power of building up that confidence and some of the skills that we're working here. So attitude, again, this is a good example of that. So confidence shows that confidence that shows it's how we define a good attitude. So good smile, being able to have that smile, good firm handshake, of course, little things, but even that straight posture, strong, being able to project that voice of confidence. And going back to this man now, he's an adult. I think before he finished up to go off to university, he was stood up in front of class teaching some warm-ups to 20, 30 people. You would never imagined it beforehand. So it was a massive thing. So peers and teachers, take notice of children with a winning attitude, right? It's great important, therefore, to be friendly and helpful both at home and at school. When I say winning attitude, it's understanding that who we're competing against is always ourselves. And there's other people that we've got to compete if it's a race, but really it's like, what's my personal best? What's the target I'm going for? And what's the one I'm going to reach? But it's a great thing when you see the attitude come out with, especially with the children in the class, and they had been shy, and suddenly they're confidence, sir, or confidence, miss, and just working out on something that they maybe thought was before a little bit of a dream or a little bit impossible. So opportunity, we all want our children to become leaders, but how exactly can we get it done? So let's say at home, we can get them helping around the house, doing some more chores, so they become a little bit more responsible for things. That if you chucking them straight into the washing up might be a bit of an extreme thing. So just get them to wash their own plate. It doesn't take too long, and little things like that. But or just volunteering it in and around the community. If there's a voluntary voluntary coming up, get them involved in that. We have a lot of teenagers volunteer and help in the classes here, and I've been doing it pretty much ever since as an instructor, and it is huge, the impact on that, because you see them start to come a little bit more out of themselves, and we present them with little controlled challenges. Just get these guys doing this, and can you just say this in front of this class, so their confidence slowly starts to come out, rather than just push them straight into something, of course. So as they master tasks and say chores at homes, their responsibility will also grow. All right. So few of us are natural born leaders, so it's a skill that must be learned through experience. So the essential key then is to give the child the opportunity to become a leader. All right, and of course the knock-on effect. Again, as I've already shared one example, but I can think of many. It's a massive thing. So need an action plan. So it's not very useful to tell a child to avoid a bully if you can't tell a child how to do so. So if there's a bully, we need to set a plan in place for that. Children need to understand there's a very specific course of action to be taken in dangerous situations. And so does your child know exactly what to do if he or she is being harassed by a bully? Do they know what to do if they're approached by a stranger? Do they know what to do if they're in a dangerous situation, if they're maybe that little bit older and they've got that little bit more independence? If you have specific instructions, discuss them with your child, on occasion. In cases like this, knowledge is definitely power indeed. So at least they got some form of knowledge, with that. All right. Obviously, we do self-defense work here. That is, in line with the law. What they can and what they shouldn't do. It's not fighting. It's more, that having that edge over things on how to get themselves, to a safe situation. All right. So martial arts can help. There we go. All right. It's the one thing. It's one thing to hold the keys to helping child build confidence. It's another thing though to start get the motor running and make it happen. So we can have all this knowledge, but until we get your child's on board, doing some of these skill sets here, or in a martial arts environment, doesn't have to be here, it's just in general. But many of these, it's tested principles. It's difficult for parents to implement them alone. And I always feel that, role model, even if it's not for self-defense, but just confidence building, all these things. If you're saying it, a teacher at school is saying it, if there's a role model somewhere else saying it, it becomes to make sense, because I don't think we listen to our parents, but think back to when you were a child, how much you listened to them, how much wise words they gave you. So we need to hear it, children need to hear it, the same message coming from different things, because there are other role models out there that, it might be on YouTube, but hopefully there's they're getting the same message across there, but we just don't know sometimes. So it just gives us that, having a role model, say, as a martial arts instructor, you've got that element of control, and then obviously go and check the place out and see what their principles are on, and if it's in line with yours, perfect, because that's going to be a massive investment for you that you're going to make towards your child. All right. So we can't, as a parent, we can't do it on our own. So it takes time, it's effort, and it's constant reinforcement. And that's the same here. We're constantly reinforcing these messages over, and we have to find weird and wonderful ways to put that across sometimes. But that is our main outcome. So a bit more on like how martial arts can help. So the group dynamics, our positive approach and our strong moral code help foster these skills that are definitely going to last a lifetime. And I've only, like I said, I spoke about one. I think I've been seeing it a lot recently. It was members that have finished, they've gone off to university now. Obviously, they're not going to be able to carry on training. Some have, continued that there. But I'm not saying martial arts was the main ingredient, but it was definitely a core part of that ingredient. And a lot will say, oh yeah, Mr. Rudman, thank you, because I congratulate him. Oh, I remember doing exams, and I remember something you said in the class, and it just really helped me through, this process of studying or whatever it is, they've gone on to. So martial arts definitely builds confidence. So if your child is shy, it might be hard to imagine putting on a martial arts uniform or stepping onto the martial arts and learning martial arts, right? Stepping on the mat to learn it. So martial arts, and a good martial arts instructor understands this fear. And we can turn these experiences into such a powerful lesson. And I think that's one of what's made us, helped us be so successful. We understood how intimidating it might feel. I'm going to go martial arts. Oh my God, that's straight away. We might have all kinds of different associations going on. So how we indoctrinate people in is very, very important. We got our steps, or we got our processes, and we can turn pretty much anything into a lesson from there. Occasionally we might have a parent that says, "Oh, this has happened. Can you help with this?" Yeah, of course. Oh, you sure? Because we don't focus the class on that one person. We got a lesson now that we can put out to all 30 kids that are in that class. So martial arts instructors do undergo, like here, anywhere really, extensive training. So we know how to build excellent rapport and offering plenty of praise in the right places and encouragement. And that's one of the things we work on within our staff training. It's because anyone, you can learn martial arts, pretty much anything you can do, you can go out and teach it. But having that skill set of, being able to communicate at the right level, at the right age group, the right age range, understanding where that child is on their learning spectrum, so and putting them in the right environment. So we don't like 3-year-olds training with 5-year-olds, for example. We avoid that because it makes it difficult for them to learn. So we keep their age. That's why we've got this quite narrow age specific. It's pretty much the same as school, because there's only like 2 age groups pretty much in each school year at school. So helps get the best out of them much faster since we introduced that about 6 years ago. So the job of the instructor is to bring out the best in every single child and adult, for our adults classes, of course, right? So martial arts is going to help deter bullies. I know for myself, I just kind of felt I walk differently, talk differently since doing martial arts. It didn't, there's not an aggressive thing. There's no violence. Violence is, that's quite a negative thing, in my opinion. But it gives that encouragement, that confidence inside, that if something happened, that they got that edge to be able to protect themselves, or get themselves out of that dangerous environment, and to be able to say, no, this is not for me. I'm not going to be taking part in this thing right now, if that makes sense. So martial arts, martial arts teach children exactly how to make the bully stop, and it doesn't have to involve fighting, because martial arts builds confidence. In fact, sometimes on the anti-bullying, we talk about how we can help a child, when they see their friends getting bullied, and how they can step in, and again, without even throwing a punch, putting a hand on anyone, just in how they control that situation. And if it's happening to them, the same. Really, no one wants to get punched anyway. So it is most, in fact, every child that's come to me that got bullied we've pretty much got that turned around in a couple of weeks if they've listened to the skills that we're going to give them, of course. All right. Along with the martial arts skills, children learn how to deflect deflect verbal and physical confrontation through role-playing exercise and guidelines. The guidelines are very, very important, so they understand, where they are within the law and the law of society as well, and without getting, getting themselves into we don't like fighting, because fighting is an ego thing. So defense is something that's very different. So martial arts students learn how to be in control during these situations. So on the playground, bullies get the message. And again, it doesn't have to be about fighting. All right, it's not anything that's going to compromise them, their school time, but it means the bullying can stop. All right. So martial arts, of course, is going to be the right stuff for that. Confident, strong, and happy. We all have a strong vision of how we want our children to turn out. Yeah. That's how I want my children to turn out: confident, strong, happy, good people. The decisions we make today are going to have a great bearing on our children's future. A child who's insecure today is going to be susceptible to negative peer pressure, easy for me to say, in the future, right? So martial arts provide positive experiences for children and offer tangible goals and rewards that help them stay focused. So having a strong and positive role models from instructors to the higher ranking students as well. So even the different age groups that we've got. So let's say here we got different belts within each class. I'm not even charged for these things, but it is like a hierarchy, and there's a structure in place. So the youngest child on the lowest grade belt can see older children that have progressed all the way up. And let's say for a teenager, when they get to that age and they've completed that the teenager levels, they go on to earn their junior black belt. It is such a powerful impact. So of course it helps reinforce the values parents working to teach at home. We call it a black belt attitude, and it's our goal and it's our code of conduct. My belief is this: if we can instill a black belt attitude at the beginning and get people thinking like a black belt, how we would envision a black belt to be. There's got those skill sets now. It's not something that comes later. They get the skill sets from the beginning, and then they start to work on them. So by the time black belt comes around, we got, like I said in a couple of times, these are skills that they take onto university if they're going to do that, or onto their working life and into all areas. And all these ones, they went through the whole program. The ones that went through the whole program always come back, and if they got to stop for going away, of course, but they come back, and it's always the same message I get is, what you said then, this has helped, and it's just having that attitude, that belief in themselves. We just had a skeleton fall down, don't worry about it. To go on and succeed. So our children that have big choices ahead of them in the future, choices between right and wrong, they need to have good influences around them. So if you'd like to learn more about how martial arts can improve your child's self-confidence, please contact us, all right? Drop a message below, or drop us a message privately to the academy. We'll be happy to answer your questions that you may have. Or better yet, let your child experience the confidence building benefits themselves by taking advantage of our 6 weeks trial. So on our 6 weeks trial, it's £69. Your child can train unlimited with that. So as many classes, we recommend about two more, if less, but it gives you an idea on, of your commitments, their commitments. If it is right, if we are right, if it's the principles and morals that you want for your child, it's the investment that you want. And of course, it's a process for us because we want to make sure that it's right for them as well. So £69 includes a free uniform, but you get to really get into the class and go from there basically. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. And even if it's martial arts isn't for your child, I hope you've got some tips that you can use and share with others. So please share. And if you're listening on podcasts, follow, subscribe, and the same for YouTube as well. Peace, guys. Thank you.